If you want to participate, contact me at ordinarywomenpodcast@gmail.com. I'm sure you have great projects to brag about. You can also follow me and message me on Instagram at ordinarywomenpodcast, on Twitter at ordinarywomenpc, or on Facebook on the page Ordinary Women. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Ordinary Women. I'm welcoming Sanaa today. Hi Sanaa.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm really excited to have you here.
Oh, same here.
Can you start by giving us a quick introduction of yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. My name is Sanaa. Actually, it's Sanaa. I always find it hard to to introduce myself to internationals. So my name is Sanaa. You make a full stop at the end, but if you can't, it's okay. You
I'm
can just
sorry, I think I mispronounced it.
you can
Sanaa.
just yeah, you can just call me Sanaa. I don't mind. I'm 25 years old. Um, I live in Casablanca, in Morocco, which is a country in Africa for people who don't know. I currently work as a product manager at a mobility startup. We're trying to solve, or more like overcome, the challenge of transportation in Morocco. Yeah, I currently am building a design studio with my partner. It's called Agency 99, and I currently take care of operations. So, yeah, I guess that's mainly it. Also, I'm part of so many organizations and initiatives, such as the Google Developers Group and Women Tech Makers. I recently have been selected as a Women Tech Maker ambassador, which actually helps me a lot educate people and share my experience with mainly women in tech. And yeah.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait to talk more about all of I hope we'll get the time and the chance to talk about all of this. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing so much. That's so cool. And can you tell us something unusual about yourself?
Well, there's this thing that only my super close friends know about
And now
me.
you're gonna tell a bunch of strangers. I love it.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is how comfortable I am. Well, recently I have discovered, when I started living alone, I discovered that I cook.
Oh.
I can cook. I didn't know this before because mainly I was living with family and my mom is a great cook. So she mainly takes care. I don't stand a chance next to her.
Yeah.
So yeah, back then I wasn't even trying. So I was like, okay, so if I have to make a dish or something, I need to be alone because
Mm,
literally in my family's house, if you want to cook something, you need to cook for everyone, even if you're just
right.
testing, and they will judge you at the end.
Oh wow. Okay, that sounds like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so when I started living alone, I found I actually first it was a challenge because I saw it as a bad thing or as a challenging thing. Oh, how am
Mm.
I going to start cooking? Like, I miss my mom's dishes, and I don't
Yeah.
know the secrets, and I don't know how to put the ingredients together. But along the way, of course, with the help of internet and video calls with mom, I actually learned how to cook, and I found that I have some basic knowledge. It's just that I didn't experience it. That's why I always tell my friends, you know what? Probably you have a hidden talent, so just try
Yeah.
whatever you can. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that you discovered that. That's super, super cool. And obviously, in this podcast, we talk a lot about what it's like to be a woman. So I like by starting, was there a moment or an event in your life that made you realize that you are a woman?
Actually, there isn't one specific moment, but there are very diverse events where I don't know. It's just that people assume when they see me, they assume that I am a marketing specialist or working in marketing field, or like I'm a sales representative, or like probably taking care of business administration or something like that, something businessy.
Oh.
But they never assume I'm an IT person, or like I
Mm.
studied mathematics and in like computer science.
How is it to study? You said you studied mathematics, right?
I have a bachelor's degree in mathematics and computer science.
Ooh. So how was it
Yeah.
to study, mathematics and computer science as a woman, if I can say? Like, was there anything, did you find it hard being a woman in that type of environment and studying this?
Actually, somehow, but I didn't really feel it when I was studying because mainly, I followed the mathematics, especially the mathematics field, since I was little. My father was a huge mathematics geek.
Nice.
My old brother too. He went on and studied mathematics and mechanics. Do we
Mhm.
say mechanics? Yeah,
I I do
mechanical field.
sometimes.
Yeah. So mainly, I did not choose to study mathematics. It was like the
Mm.
thing. And
Okay.
especially in Morocco, if you study mathematics and you get your baccalaureate degree in mathematics, you
Mhm.
have more chances to get into college or super good schools later.
Mm.
So people choose mathematics a lot, and I didn't choose it because it was something that it did excite me or something, but it's just that something that I found in my household. I was too curious, and I was always checking my old brother's books. So I was, yeah, and then later on. In college, I had to choose if I wanted to study pure mathematics, applied, or I can choose computer science, like mathematics
Mm.
applied to computer science. And I didn't like the fact that if you choose the mathematics field, you have only one. You don't have a chance to choose maybe later on what you will be working at. So
Mm.
can only become a teacher later.
Right, yeah.
And it wasn't something that did excite me a lot, so I did choose computer science. Also, just not by mistake, but by, let's say, that was the only choice I had. But
Right.
later on, I just started discovering more things about me, that I'm so analytical. I have this problem solving quality in me. And yeah, that's why I said people should try everything, and you can't just guess what you'll be good at.
Yeah,
So you should try.
definitely. That's super cool. I mean, I'm glad that now you, discovered that you like it. And yeah, that's really nice. And did you grow up with any feminine or female role model?
This actually reminds me of one of the first women I got inspired from. Um, it was my primary school French teacher, and she was like literally the first woman I got inspired from and learned so many things, or so many new things. And I also got to learn things about myself thanks to her.
Mm.
So
What did you
yeah.
learn?
There were so many things I learned from her, but one of the things that let's say, changed my life is that one day she told me that, there is this powerful thing about books.
Mm.
You can literally learn about history or philosophy or like science or any other thing just by reading books.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe there was internet back then. I'm not like a super old person, but but I discovered books in a very early age and I got obsessed with them. And the obsession is still ongoing. Sorry
I
to
love
disappoint.
that. Oh no, I mean I'm always reading as well, so
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, later on, I discovered that intelligent people are not just born intelligent. It's like they have a habit of reading or like discovering something. This is how they build their knowledge
ooh,
or
that's
everything.
interesting.
Yeah, it's like a combination of everything that they saw or read on books. This is how, or this is what contributes to their intelligence.
Oh, that is so interesting.
Mm.
It's always, yeah, intelligence is such a fascinating subject. Also in its definition, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, also I highly recommend. I read a while ago, 7.5 lessons about the brain. I can't remember the author right now, but I'll put in the show notes. And I highly recommend because she also talks about the way your brain is like mobilized or I can't find the words. That as a child has you
What?
basically.
Okay. What was the writer
Yeah.
again?
Lisa Feldman Barrett.
I guess I read that book.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's actually for so many people, you can say that reading books is like a stress relief,
Oh yeah,
relieving
100%.
exercise or something. And
Yeah.
but yeah, for me, how do I read books? I actually I love trailers also.
Hmm.
So I love trailers and I love like books about science.
Hmm.
And mainly I have plenty of like table books. I don't know what we call. Probably we call them table books, right? I just love laying on my couch and just reading about something. And yeah, and there is this thing also that my former French teacher taught me is that she said that whenever you go to sleep, and I'm telling you this after I don't know after more than 18 years, and I still remember her words. She said that she asked me to do an exercise before going to bed every day, and she asked me to before going to bed, just ask yourself what was the thing or the things that you learned about today. So, doing this exercise, I always make sure to just, let's say, replay the day or replay what I have learned during the day so that it's more captured and at the same time I am satisfied or grateful for how the day went.
Oh, that's so cool. That's such a good idea. I love that.
Mm.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it is. She is, and she wasn't. She still is.
Yeah.
Um, she was actually one of my. She wasn't a friend. She wasn't a friend. Yeah. Later on, she became one of my mom's friends, and
Oh,
yeah, and
that's so
her
cute.
son was also like studying with me, so she was always pushing him, hey, be friends with Sanaa. She's like she probably speaks a lot, but she has a reason. Because I'm this kind of person who can just like I can just hang out with you, and at some point I'll be like, hey, did you know that this, and just throw a fact,
Oh my God,
stupid
I love
fact.
that.
So yeah.
That's the best. I love it. And do you currently have any female role models?
I don't remember their names, but one of the women that also like inspire me now, and I like her books. I like the way she speaks. I like the way she expresses herself. It's Michelle Obama, if you know her.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this book, my favorite book of hers. It's called Becoming.
Yeah.
If
I
you have
haven't read it,
If
but
you haven't read it, you really should. Because at first I
yeah.
thought that all her success was mainly linked to her husband's success. And I was always judging her, not judging her, but thinking that, when your husband gets super, super,
Super famous.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. When someone gets famous, mainly their spouse or their partner gets famous too, and somehow
Mm.
they are misjudged, or people say that they got famous or they have
Yeah.
this kind of success just because their spouse is a successful person. And I kind of had the same thoughts about her. But then I
Mm.
read her book. I kind of started discovering or reading more about her, how she spent her childhood, even before meeting her husband.
Yeah.
So yeah, I one of the things that really marked me or like really surprised me is how her parents, each one of them had a different impact on her.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, her father taught her like to work hard, to always keep her word, to be a good person, to laugh, and her mom actually showed her how to think for herself or how to
Right.
yeah on how to put herself first and use her voice, especially as a black woman. She had a
Mm.
very challenging childhood, and yeah, it actually reminds me of my dad and my mom too, because they taught me the same thing. Um, my dad is the kind of person who actually encourages you to do whatever you want, to go after experiences, to travel, to give it your all. Uh, my mom is kind of the one who taught me to work hard also. So they kind of balance the house.
Mm.
And yeah, it's really crazy because when I look back, my childhood was super challenging too. And I started traveling alone at a certain time. I started joining organizations, volunteering, and that actually helped me a lot discover the, let's say, just discover the person I am or discover the
Mm.
word.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, all these people sound absolutely amazing. And yeah, this is a new reminder for me to read Becoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to jump on the kind of second part of this podcast and talk about a project or achievement or life experience, something that you've done that you're proud of. So yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Actually, there are so many things that, as I told you, there are so many things
Mm-hmm.
that I am proud of, honestly.
Yeah.
But lately, I've started this project with my partner, and it is a design studio, or more like a branding studio,
Mm-hmm.
in Morocco. I don't know if it's the case for every country out there. Branding in general is a pretty challenging subject, and probably in the US they are pretty advanced in this, but in African countries or Morocco specifically, businesses really they do not put a budget, let's say, aside for branding
Mm-hmm.
or think about how to build their brand in a very complete way. So they always start by just making a logo, creating, choosing a name, and that's it. They think they had it all figured out. And then after 2 years or like 10 years, they see no results and they're like probably blaming other things. While if you see, if you just go on and put more time, more effort on building your brand from scratch, your brand identity, your messaging, how do you talk to people, who are these people first, and who do you want to target or influence. So yeah, it's kind of pretty challenging in Morocco. and I was like, why not? Why not actually be the one who's going to change this and impact businesses, especially small businesses?
That's super cool. That's amazing. And so, have you launched it already? Like, it's an agency, right?
Yeah, it's actually already launched.
Cool. What's the name?
It's Agency 99.
Oh, yeah. Nice. So,
Yeah.
how did you launch your agency?
Actually, it's my partner's agency, and
Mm-hmm.
it was founded in 2019. But then in 2020, we kind of took a break
Okay.
just to see how things were going, just to analyze things. And
Mm-hmm.
then we came back, and currently we are still in the process of, because as you might know, small business management is pretty hard.
Yeah, I
especially
can't even imagine.
Yeah, especially if you have another job, or you have because it is challenging. So what we do is that we try to create workflows and strategies. How we're going to manage projects. How are we going to, let's say, make an impact or solve a challenge. So yeah, we are still in the phase where we're building things, but it's live. We have a super active social media. I hope. I'd like to see it this way.
Yeah.
And yeah, currently we are not taking any project because we're taking the time to work on, as I said, workflows and how the
Mm.
business is going. And yeah, it is something that is still in progress, but it's one of the things that I, let's say, I really put effort in because I believe in it. And it's not the only thing I believe in, so I try
Mm-hmm.
to split my
Yeah.
24 hours as much as I can. So there is this mobility startup that I work at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently the product manager, and we actually l- lately we have participated in a hackathon, sort of hackathon for mobility, and we came up with a project to solve mobility issues, mainly for the railway, for the rail train. And
Mm-hmm.
we got invite. We actually won the third prize, and
Oh my God, congratulations.
thank you. And we got invited to the International World Congress of High Speed Rail.
Wow.
Yeah, we met super, super, super interesting people in the mobility industry, and I really like the fact also that I'm contributing to a startup that has a super great goal, and it's actually one like why I joined them in the first place, because I was a victim also of the mobility
Mm.
challenge. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, if I can make an impact on that too, why not? So currently we're working on the product, and it's all going good. So yeah. Other than that, I know I'm like jumping from here and there. Just
Yeah, that's amazing.
there is also this thing I love sharing with the community, especially the IT community in Morocco is super active, and since I joined Women Tech Makers and Google Developers groups, I started speaking at conferences about technologies, Google technologies or other. I always like to share my experiences with people in the design thinking field, or like product management field, or anything I can help with. Probably also personal branding, anything. I told you, like I read a lot. I go through so many experiences, so I have so much to share, and I always, I don't know, somehow my mom, especially my mom, she always asks me this question of like, "Hey, aren't you tired?" Because
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how many hours do you sleep at night? Like, do you manage to... Are you a vampire? Time to tell the truth.
I mean, I admire vampires, but I wish I also have a house to manage. So it's pretty hard, but I do sleep. I do sleep well.
Nice.
6 hours, around 6 hours, 7 hours, at my best. But in general, my mom keeps asking me this question of like, "Hey, aren't you tired?" Because like every weekend, no, usually people who work during the week they prefer
Mm,
spending free time on weekends, just doing nothing, or like
yeah.
spending it with friends and families. But how can I say? It's just that I get such a relief, such a great feeling when I fly to, I don't know, the end of Morocco to just share an idea that might help someone who does not have access to that
Mm,
information and that they might need later. I just feel so good, and people always like approach me saying, "Hey, you just impacted our lives. You shared this information on that event." Sometimes I even forget which events I attended. And they're like, "Hey, you actually, I used this information of yours, and it actually worked at work, and now I'm having, I don't know, I'm feeling good about it, stuff like that." And I'm like, "Whoa!" So I actually, it's not just in my head, but I'm actually impacting people. And when I was selected as a Women Tech Makers ambassador, I started even approaching women in technology more, trying to educate them, trying to also just bridge in that gap between men and women, especially in technology. I don't know if it's just in Morocco or any other country, but technology or IT in general is targeted to men,
yeah,
and it's kind of sad.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's so cool. So what challenges do you face? I guess like, yeah, doing all of this, is there anything that is like always comes back
Um,
aside from time management? Because I'm like at this point, I assume that would be one.
yeah, time management, also health. Health.
Oh,
So
really?
when I'm sick or like when I'm really not
Mm,
feeling good, I just stay home.
yeah.
And honestly, I do not feel good staying home. I like going out and like just learning new things or
Mm,
meeting people, sharing ideas. It can be anything as long as it's getting my brain moving.
yeah.
Not just time management, but also Sanaa management. Sometimes I find it hard
Yeah.
to switch between personalities. No, just kidding. I have only one personality. But it's
No,
just
but I
like,
see what you mean. Like, just get your
wow.
brain onto the one thing that, yeah. Do you
Yeah.
feel that it helps you though to? Because I've definitely heard that quite a few times, and like I guess the most person famous for that was Albert Einstein. Like working on different projects kind of help you achieving them more. Do you find that to be true for yourself?
I believe so because
Mm-hmm.
back then in like 2018, 2019, when I was a computer science student, I only knew computer science. But then
Mm-hmm.
when I started really getting into the IT community and meeting people from also like a background, different backgrounds like design also, or security, I met really crazy people in the design field, and just being able to hang out with them, somehow they just talk about a certain aspect in design, and you're like, oh, let's say, for example, the golden ratio. There is this thing called golden ratio in design, but if you see it from a mathematical side, it actually exists in mathematics. So my brain goes like, okay, so we have this in mathematics too, and I start making the link between like different fields,
Mm.
and that's what helps me see the world from a different, let's say,
Yeah.
view. So I always um, I have this anecdote. I don't know if in my last job I was working as a full stack developer, and during the day I always find myself disturbing the designer. I'm like, I mean, my job is just to get the design and actually implement it or turn it to code. But I always find myself in the design department asking them, hey, I mean, why don't we just do this? And let's say, for example, the person who's going to use the app is a kid, so
Mm.
probably you'd prefer putting a button next to where his finger is, his small finger is, not
Yeah.
not on the other way. So I'm like just trying to give suggestions, and at a certain
Mm.
time I felt that imposter syndrome because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, probably full stack development isn't really for me. Probably I'm like a generalist, and I know I'm not like
Mm.
I'm not like a specialist in one thing, but I
Yeah.
also know so many things about so many fields, and I'm not like a specialist in only one field. And this is where I started really discovering UX, linked with business, linked with technology, and that's where product management came from. So now in my current job I can still like impact the design, impact business decisions, and impact also the technology or like technical side of projects, which is great.
Yeah, that is so interesting. And yeah, I love making links between things, and you're just like, wait, that's like, yeah, so interesting. That's so cool that you get to do that between everything. Nice. And
Yeah,
is there anything that you thought would be that was easier than you thought would be in any of these or in life in general?
actually, I don't know. I'm someone who's when I face a challenge or something, I'm not the person who gets super anxious or
Mm.
super sad about something. I'm someone who welcomes challenges. I'm like
Nice.
I always try to find. I'm like solution oriented. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
I just try to find. Okay, I don't analyze the current situation. I try to
Mm.
or like come up with solutions to the current situation.
Right.
Um, yeah, I'm an extroverted, but at the same time, I am someone who analyzes things. So
Mm.
let's say, okay, let's say I, okay, this is actually a true story. Let's say I came home and I found that the electricity was off or was like broken. I'm not gonna like judge myself on or say, "Hey, Sanaa, you could have like expected this to happen" or something like that.
Mm.
I would just be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you know what? You live alone, dear, so you gotta figure it out somehow." And I just try to find solutions. Okay, there was this person
Yeah.
I met that day that they said they knew someone who worked in the, I don't know, the electricity
Mm.
field.
Yeah.
So I'll just start making calls, trying to. Yes, of course, I get overwhelmed at a certain time. I'm a human being,
Yeah.
but I always try to find solution instead of just like doing nothing about it. So
Yeah.
everything in life might like probably seem hard at first, but if you just develop a certain method of thinking, that will be great. Because I'm an overthinker too, but when it comes to situations like this, I just tell myself, hey, let me just solve this problem first, and I'm gonna overthink later. maybe maybe later I can think of why yesterday I didn't expect
Yeah.
this, but now let me just fix this.
That's cool. That's a good way. Like at least to get things done without, yeah, being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And why are you proud of yourself or everything that you do?
Sometimes I forget how many things I achieved in life or how many people I impacted until one day you receive, I don't know, a message from someone or like a feedback from someone saying, hey, you're, let's say, okay, so I have two little brothers. They are twins, and they are literally my kids.
Oh.
And I've been, let's say, their tutor for so many years since they were super little. I taught them how to do things, how to think, how to, especially in mathematics and like French and English. And one day, someone told me that I'm a good sister by by being there for my brothers and just impacting their school life also, or how they think or how they deal with things. And you're just doing something and you receive this feedback from a stranger or from someone that knows you and
Mm.
knows your brothers. uh, and they're like, "Hey, you're a great sister." And I'm like, "What? You
Oh.
think? How? Tell me more." And just they start listing things that you probably already know. And you're like, "Yeah, that's
Mm.
true." So it's like, yeah, it's like you detach yourself from yourself, and
Yeah.
you see, let's say, I see Sana from another person's point of view,
Mm.
and I'm like, she did this and she did that. Oh, I'm really proud of her. And then you figure out that you are that person and you are the one who made impact on those people. And somehow, some days, it happens that some days are just super calm and you like your life and everything, but there are also hard days where you just feel like you're not doing enough. Uh,
Yeah.
That's why I actually keep souvenirs from every conference I go to or from every place I go to. I'm
Mhm.
really obsessed with memories, and I kind of use that box just to remind myself of what I have done in my life. And I really like tried things at a super young age, and like now I'm 25 and I already see that I made such a great impact on this world, and really looking forward to making more impact.
That's so beautiful. And I think we're gonna conclude this episode on that. Thank you so, so much. That was so interesting. I can't wait to like see all the great things you're gonna do because clearly, I mean, you are already doing amazing things. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you again. And in this podcast, the guest always gets the very last word, so the mic is yours.
Oh, sure. I just invite everyone out there to challenge themselves and believe in themselves. And if you think you're not good at something, just try it first, and then you'll see. You'll be surprised.